The Crusader army is destroyed. The path to Jerusalem is open. For 88 years, it has been a city of conquest. Now, one man holds the power to take it back. Will he unleash vengeance for a century of blood, or will he offer a mercy that echoes through history? The siege begins. September 1187. With the kingdom in ruins, Saladin turns his army south. His goal is not a castle or a town, but the heart of the world itself. Al-Quds, Jerusalem.
Take the cross! Lead us, Balian! You are our only hope now.
Inside Jerusalem, chaos. The city is swollen with refugees and has few soldiers. The corrupt patriarch Heraclius hoards treasure. A leader emerges by default, Balian of Ibelin, a noble who had sworn never to bear arms again. Balian's face, a man accepting an impossible duty.
Surrender, and all may leave in peace with their possessions.
We will not surrender the holy city. Their terms are refused. We choose to fight.
My lord, they refuse the terms, my lord. They choose to fight.
Saladin offers terms, surrender, and all may leave in peace with their possessions. Fight and the laws of siege, sack and slaughter will apply. The council in Jerusalem, led by Heraclius, refuses. They choose to fight. The siege must happen. On September 20th, Saladin's forces encircle the city. Siege engines are built. The first stones fly. For the defenders, every day is a miracle of survival. Muslim miners tunnel beneath the walls. Crusader counterminers meet them in the dark, fighting with picks and shovels in suffocating tunnels. It is a war of inches and sheer terror and brutality of underground war. Inside, food runs low. The price of grain skyrockets. Heraclius and the rich eat well, while the poor starve. Balian orders all silver and gold melted to mint coins to pay for a desperate defense. The siege drags. His emirs grow impatient for plunder. Saladin wants the city intact, a holy prize, not a ruin. He worries about a relief force from Europe. Time is not on his side.
Every day we wait weakens our resolve and risk.
Saladin in his tent, listening to his commanders argue for a final bloody assault. The strategic and political pressure on Saladin mounting. Knowing defeat is certain, Balian does the unthinkable. He dons his knight's garb and requests parley. He rides out to meet Saladin face to face.
If we receive no mercy, we will kill our own families, burn the city to the ground, and fight to the last man.
Balian, exhausted but defiant, delivering his grim ultimatum. Saladin's stunned realization. This is not a bluff. The knight would do it.
They must pay for their defiance, Sultan. Vengeance is the only language they understand.
Mercy, brother.
This is not just about conquest. It is about our legacy. Show them the mercy that defines us.
If we grant them mercy now, it is that act they will remember above all conquests.
The heated debate in the Sultan's tent. Saladin consults his inner circle. His brother Al-Adil argues for the mercy that will define their legacy. The hardliners want vengeance. Saladin thinks of the Prophet's teachings and the eyes of history. Saladin closing his eyes, listening to his brother's voice above the others.
10 gold dinars per man, 5 per woman, 1 per child.
Those unable to pay the ransom will be taken as slaves.
It is harsh, but it avoids a massacre.
Saladin gives his answer. The city may surrender. A ransom, 10 gold dinars per man, 5 per woman, 1 per child. The poor who cannot pay, thousands, will be enslaved. It is harsh, but it avoids a massacre. Terms being read to the desperate population. The mix of relief and despair on the faces of the people. October 2nd, 1187. The gates of Jerusalem swing open. Saladin's banners are raised on the towers. After 88 years, the city returns to Muslim rule. His soldiers enter under strict orders. No killing, no destruction. Saladin dismounting, touching his head to the ground in prayer. Saladin's control is absolute. Markets are protected. Churches are spared, except the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is closed for a time. The Orthodox Christians are allowed to stay. It is a model of disciplined conquest. Saladin watching the orderly exodus, ensuring his commands are followed. The paying of the ransom begins. Lines of the wealthy leave with their carts. Balian and Heraclius pay from the treasury for many poor, but tens of thousands remain, destined for slavery. A heart-wrenching scene of families being separated at the gates. Moved by the suffering, Al-Adil goes to his brother.
My lord, you have won the ultimate victory. Now win the ultimate honor. Grant me 1,000 slaves as my share of the spoils.
Granted.
Saladin agrees. Al-Adil immediately takes his slaves and sets them all free. Then he returns and asks for another 1,000 and another, depleting the captives. He is exploiting a loophole of honor, and Saladin allows it, a silent smile on his lips. Al-Adil personally breaks the chains of elderly captives. Saladin watching from a balcony, his stern expression softening with pride and approval.
All elderly captives are hereby granted their freedom, and their ransom paid in full from my own treasury.
Inspired, Saladin declares all elderly captives free. He then pays the ransom for thousands more from his own treasury. In the end, very few are led into slavery. The act defines him forever. The chronicler Imad ad-Din writing furiously, knowing he is recording history, while Saladin's men throwing open bags of gold to pay the ransoms.
My thanks, my lord. You are a man of honor and true to your word.
Balian, his duty done, is granted safe passage to Tyre with his family. He thanks Saladin not as a conqueror, but as a man of his word. The two commanders share a final nod of respect. Balian's hollow eyes, alive, but his world is gone. Saladin proceeds to the Temple Mount, the dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, used as stables and palaces by the Crusaders, are meticulously cleansed with rose water. The call to prayer rings out once more. Saladin himself helping to wash the stone floor of the dome. Saladin's tears of genuine, profound fulfillment.
God is the greatest.
Word of Jerusalem's fall and Saladin's mercy rockets across the world. In Baghdad and Cairo, there is jubilation. In Rome, Pope Urban III dies of shock upon hearing the news. The scale of the event dawning on everyone. In Europe, the shock turns to fury. The new Pope, Gregory VIII, issues a call for the Third Crusade. Kings begin to marshal their forces. Saladin's victory has united Christendom against him. The inevitable consequence, a greater war looms. 1191, the greatest warrior of Europe, Richard the Lionheart, King of England, arrives in the Holy Land. With him comes the fierce King Philip II of France. The ultimate test of Saladin's empire begins. Crusader ships flooding the harbor of Acre. Richard's banners. Saladin receiving the report. The legend he must now face. A 2-year nightmare of battle, disease and stalemate ensues at Acre. Saladin harries the Crusaders but cannot break their siege. It is a war of attrition he cannot afford. The brutal, muddy stalemate outside Acre's walls. Saladin's frustration. This is not the war of maneuver he excels at. The devastating charge of the Crusader Knights. At the Battle of Arsuf, Richard's disciplined Crusaders break Saladin's army in a decisive charge. It is Saladin's first major military defeat. He is outmatched by Richard's brute force. Saladin witnessing his lines shatter, a new kind of respect for his foe dawning. Richard takes Acre and marches toward Jerusalem, but his army is exhausted. Saladin scorches the earth before him. The two greatest commanders of their age circle each other, neither able to strike the killing blow. Richard catching sight of Jerusalem's towers, but unable to reach them. The mutual exhaustion and respect between the two kings. In September 1192, sick of war, they signed the Treaty of Ramla. Jerusalem remains in Muslim hands, but pilgrims are guaranteed safe passage. It is a draw. Richard leaves for Europe, his crusade unfinished, the treaty being signed. Richard and Saladin never meet face to face. Saladin's relief. His life's work is preserved. Having secured his legacy, Saladin returns to Damascus. The years of constant warfare have broken his health. In March 1193, he falls ill with a fever, a frail Saladin in a simple room in Damascus, surrounded by his sons. The mighty Sultan, reduced to a sick old man.
Carry this shroud through the streets.
Behold all that remains of Saladin the conqueror. He took nothing with him but this.
On his deathbed, he calls for his standard bearer. He orders that his burial shroud be carried through the streets on a spear with a herald calling, "Behold all that remains of Saladin the conqueror. He took nothing with him but this." The simple shroud being carried aloft. His final powerful lesson in humility. Saladin dies. He leaves behind a vast empire and a treasury containing a single gold coin and 47 pieces of silver. He had given all his wealth away. The Muslim world weeps. Even his enemies mourn a noble foe. The funeral procession in Damascus, thronged by thousands of weeping citizens. The genuine universal grief from peasant to emir. He was a unifier, a liberator, and a man of his word. He forged an empire not just by the sword, but by a mercy that made legend. He proved that greatness is measured not only by what you conquer, but by how you rule. And in that, Saladin conquered time itself. Saladin's story is one of history's greatest, but history does not end with one man. Subscribe to Amoura Stories and hit the bell icon. The empire he built with his life's blood would be tested as never before. In our next saga, we follow the fractured legacy, the story of his sons. Watch as brother turns against brother, as the great Ayyubid Empire splinters into warring kingdoms, and the very unity Saladin died for is consumed by ambition and rivalry. The throne was his greatest achievement. It would become his family's battlefield.